I eated it. In all seriousness, a traditional in-person E3 event has been MIA since 2019, and with this most recent cancellation in 2023, there's no rescheduled date for 2024 at all. As of right now, E3 hangs in the balance, in limbo. Just like my happiness, it depends on the involvement of PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. But what got it to this point?
It was the dyspraxia. 2020 brought with it the dyspraxia outbreak, leading to business closures, that pain I feel on my feet when I walk long distances, and the destruction of E3 as we know it.
And let's not get anything misconstrued here. The destruction of E3 didn't start with the cringe moments in the 2000s, 2010s. Those made E3. The disaster class that was Sony's E3 2006 conference, the Wii Music Live demo that Nintendo did, stuff that we once viewed as downright bad looks of the companies involved, we now look back on with fondness because the alternative is...
E3's decline was inevitable and imminent. It was clear as day to anyone still tuning in. From the birth of the iconic $2.99, where Sony blew Nintendo out of the water in probably the first ever mic drop E3 moment, to the even more iconic $5.99 moment where Sony blew themselves out of the console race. And still won. These companies used to be at each other's throats, then the fans of those companies were at each other's throats, and now we get pussy shit like this. Might be an unpopular opinion, I don't know, but bring me back to the console wars. Let these companies get rowdy with each other on stage. I want a bloodbath between the PS5 and the Series X. Let the corporations try and one-up each other, because it will lead to either cool moments where they succeed, hilarious moments when they lose, and literally anything better than what we're getting in the last few E3s.
I don't know, I just think Sony trying to kill the Xbox 360 with Ridge Racer, remember that one? Is a whole lot funnier than the Bethesda clapping guy? Though that was very funny. Please, Bethesda, keep that guy on your payroll for next E3. Yeah! If there is a next E3. Now that companies have cooled down and realised there's no imminent threat of getting Sega, what we're seeing on stage is just kind of cooked. And when they all realised they didn't need an extravagant presentation to one-up each other, they all just stop showing up.
More and more companies, even before the dyspraxia hit us all, were beginning to drop out of E3 by replacing their traditional press conferences with live streams from separate buildings. For as much stick as Nintendo gets for refusing to move with the times, and rightly so, they were ahead of the curve in 2013.
This would also be the first and only thing the Wii U ever got right.
In truth, pre-recorded segments were becoming the feature of delivering content announcements to your user base. Did you know that 99% of all E3 viewers are also willing to watch a Nintendo Direct? That's a fact that I pulled right out of my ass, but you get the idea. Everyone who was tuning into Nintendo's E3 showcase also watched Nintendo Directs, so why bother paying the expense to set up the show floor if you could just put everything in a highlight reel instead?
Why do this if you can just...
ここからは任天堂スイッチのヘッドラインです。ご覧ください。
chat, donate to me!
I think there was a sort of nexus point regarding the cancellation of E3 as a whole, and that was 2021, otherwise known as the year E3 blew their own foot off with a shotgun. E3 put their foot down in defiance of 2021. Another year with a cloud of a dyspraxia outbreak cast over it, and they worked tirelessly on their own digital E3, where all their usual publishers got together to make their own live streams, branded as E3 live streams, and streamed to their own channels and revealed their E3 games through that method. Did they think this through?
Just so I'm not getting anything misconstrued here, let me try and recap it. They've now cancelled 2 physical E3s on the bounce and effectively shown all publishers how to set up their own live streams to reveal their own games without the help of E3, and then just kind of put that under their own digital E3 banner. What were they thinking? And it's not just that, E3 2021 was the only E3 with an official digital event. So not only have you now armed the publishers with their own live streams, you've also given them a blank slate year where they can just test the waters without you, the ESA. Why wouldn't you pull out of E3?
At least they still had Google. Oh yeah, right, I forgot they pulled out. This quick retrospective of how we got to this point has taught me one new thing. Wow, they really did this to themselves. And it's not even just recently either. E3 has been going further and further downhill as of late. I touched on that earlier, but if you're seriously taking the Porsche reveal at Xbox 2019 conference over, well, only the single-handedly greatest video game moment of all time...
Peggle 2!
then I really don't know what to say to you. The best E3 moments are cringe. It's that awkward moment on stage as you realise no one has a single idea what they're supposed to be doing. And modern E3, while easier on the eye, open to the public, arguably better for advertisers because it's less and more. It's just kind of shittier in my mind because it's missing those moments that become embedded in pop culture. There's a reason I've played this clip like 3 times now.
E3 was already on the decline, but now it looks like it's gone forever. After 3, count them, 3 attempts at rescheduling, there is no date set for E3 2024 or word on whether it will happen at all. And if you ask me on my personal opinion for it, these publishers pulled out once, they're gonna do it again. Public interest has dwindled because of everything I've said up until this point. There hasn't been a physical E3 in 4 years. It'll be 5 by the time we roll around to 2024, and everyone knows publishers can just hold their own events now to reveal their games.
I sat on the idea of launching into a full-blown, here's how I'd fix E3 ramble for a while, but honestly, I don't think this is salvageable at this point. Competing events like Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards don't carry anywhere nearly as much weight as E3 once did, but the fact that they can at least run and exist while E3 stumbles and falls over and over and over and over, it all kind of proves that there's no fixing this without time travel.
Out charge.
I remember hearing so much hype for this 2023 PlayStation Showcase that happened around E3 time. It ended up turning out, you know, not the best, but there was a lot of excitement for it, the kind of stuff you see for a Nintendo Direct. Meanwhile, with Summer Games Fest, I didn't even know that was happening until 40 minutes into the showcase, and in a way, I think it's kind of cool that more power is going to the publishers. Sure, no event is ever going to be perfect. In fact, most events are going to be bad by our own standards. But I think these live streams just tend to cut out quite a bit of bloat compared to what we used to have. Not saying that all bloat is bad bloat, but there's definitely just more of a focus on showing us games and trailers in a PlayStation Showcase or a Nintendo Direct than there is on the E3 show floor.
A live stream of concentrated game trailers or the usual E3 bloat. Consumers have sort of made up their mind. Like I just said, I don't think all bloat is bad bloat per se. Stuff like the Ghost of Tsushima live music performance at E3 2019 was cool. Stuff like the Wii Music live demo was hilarious. But it's still effectively time wasting before you show the next game or just end the event. So in an age where attention spans are decreasing rapidly, oh right, here, stay focused, and people want more content out of these events than ever before, and then get upset when 90% of that content turns out to be filler. You see what I'm getting at here? It's just another point against the future of E3.
There can still be bad event pacing, do not get me wrong, but I just can't shake the feeling that this era of short form content and people just generally wanting more out of their events has sort of killed even the hype of E3 presentations. So if no one cares about the console wars, they all prefer to watch live streams, the ESA can't put together an in-person event to save their own life while Jeff Keighley runs like 2 a year, then surely that all means
E3 is dead. And did we appreciate it enough? Yeah. Like, I'm very nostalgic over E3. Even more recent memories like the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate reveal at E3 2018. I went nuts over Everyone Is Here, but then you remember that that was a Nintendo Direct technically, and it's... oh. There's no need for E3 anymore. Like, we can all sit here, pretend, and say stuff like, oh, it was so much better when it was a press-only event, and they showed it on G4, and they cussed away every 5 minutes because it was on G4, and they sucked at broadcasting it, and the fax machine was still around, and my dad made cave paintings on the wall. But... was it though? Realistically, Nintendo Directs and Xbox Game Showcases are just doing it better at this point. And there's always Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards to fill that cringe hole in my heart that's yet to be filled. But... it always belonged to someone else.
What's the recommended amount of dedicated wham?
I just want to run to you.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat your question?
Dedicated wham to a server.
RAM.
If you're running off
RAM.
of receipt.
Oh, okay.
Depending on plugins and players.